Hi guys, Ben here from Wrestling Life. I hope you are doing well. Now, recording this one on a Sunday morning because a story has really piqued my interest. For those of you that follow this channel regularly, you'll know there is one thing I cannot stand, and that is bullies. I was bullied as a kid. I've spoken on this channel about my experience with bullies, which ironically happened as a result of being a wrestling fan as a kid. Only as recently as this week, I have been on the receiving end of bullying behaviour from someone within the wrestling community who I brought into my circle of trust. It has really made me think yet again, about why people bully and why people act the way they do. So this story, it caught my eye, and I wanted to just talk about it for a couple of minutes. This is David Otunga, former WWE superstar and part of the Nexus, talking about his experiences with John Cena in 2010. And of course, it's very timely because this video that David has shared, which I'm going to drop a link to in the comments because it's well worth a watch. It's a fantastic video. The video he shared is obviously coming a week before John Cena's last match. We have finally gotten to the end of this year-long, unbelievably drawn out, cash grabbing, self-indulgent retirement tour. And I, for one, even though I'm not really watching WWE programming at the moment, will be very, very relieved when my social media feeds aren't day after day streams of thank you Cena, we'll miss you Cena. Not that I have anything against John Cena or what he's brought to the business at all. I don't in any way, shape or form, but it has just been so self-indulgent and I've had enough of it. So this really caught my attention, this video, because we hear a lot of things and great things about John Cena. It's interesting to hear someone else who worked with him during the height of his popularity sharing a different view. And of course, we all saw as fans how the Nexus were treated creatively at the hands of John Cena in 2010, this faction which had so much promise and so much potential. I'm going to read you just a couple of minutes, things that David said in this video. And again, I want to encourage you to watch the whole video. But here's what he said. He's talking about an incident that happened on September 24th, 2010 in Paris, France. And he says it's a story he's waited 15 years to tell, a story of verbal and emotional abuse suffered by John Cena. David says, I was tag teaming with Wade Barrett against John Cena and Evan Bourne. Goldust was on the tour. This was right before he became an agent, so he was still active. And he was really cool because he would work with me before every show. Goldust was giving me different things I could do and helping me add tools to my bag because I was such a green wrestler. My moves were very limited, but Goldust was trying to give me extra things to do. He gave me a simple little move. I can't even call it a spot, but wrestling fans have seen it 1,000 times. A heel drapes a babyface's neck over the top rope. The heel then puts his hands on the rope, pushes it out, pulls it back, and the babyface jerks up and bumps off it. So Goldust told John ahead of time, hey, Otunga's going to do this little thing in the match. John didn't even need to be told, but Goldust was just letting him know he had been working with me. So I hang John Cena up on the ropes. He's hanging there. I'm flexing, doing my stuff. I slowly walk over. John is hung up. I reach out and grab the ropes, the first step in the move. And the moment I touch the top rope, Cena does this awful looking sell. I hadn't pushed it out or pulled it back yet. I just touched the rope and he sold it. Way too early, it looked terrible. But I didn't say anything. I turned around and boy, Cena is pissed. He's kicking my ass in there for real and cussing me out, telling me how terrible I am, that I live in Fantasyland, that I'm awful, that when this is over I'm going back to FCW. He's doing this in the middle of the match. And I don't even know what to do with myself at this point because I didn't mess that up. But this is John Cena and he's cussing me out, stepping over the line, and we're still in the match. I remember being so embarrassed. People could hear it. Maybe we were in France, but still. Evan Bourne is snickering at me across the ring. Wade's not saying anything and it's just awful. Then we get to the back. And this is the bit that really, really caught my attention because this reminds me so much of a story that Mark Mero told me when we were working on Bad to Good together, Mark's book. He told me about a story he had in the early days of WCW with Butch Reed in the WCW locker room after a match. So let me get back to what David Otunga said. We get to the back and I didn't even get to say sorry. Cena is cussing me out as soon as he comes through the curtain in front of the entire locker room, totally dressing me down, telling me this is a fantasy for me, that I'm not a real wrestler, I shouldn't be here, I can't hack it, and I'm going back to FCW. He says the first thing he's doing is calling Vince McMahon. He's calling The Office. And it's so bad that I start getting tears of anger, not crying, just rage. Because what do? I'm not going to put my hands on him. He hadn't crossed that line physically, but he's talking to me in a way no man talks to another man. Totally disrespectful, and the whole point is he messed it up. He finished his tirade and stormed off. Goldust came over to me, and the first thing he said was, "Man, that's messed up. He should never talk to anybody like that." He said he was going to say something to John about it. Then he asked what Cena was even mad about. I told him it was the rope spot, and Goldust says, "Well, John messed that up." And I'm like, "I know." He goes, "So John's yelling at you because of that rope spot, but he's the one who messed it up." We went back and watched the tape together, just like I said. Cena messed it up. He missed the timing. I don't know what he was doing, and he sold it way too fast, then went crazy on me. It was the worst I've ever been cussed out or disrespected, to the point where I questioned if I even wanted to work there anymore. I didn't make a mistake, and yet I was disrespected like that. Absolutely not. So I really had to think about it, and if I'm being honest, it changed the way I saw John Cena forever. It actually changed the way I saw the company too, because nobody did anything about it. He goes on to say that if John Cena had physically put his hands on him backstage, then he would have had no qualms whatsoever about ending that altercation himself. But what I love about this story, and obviously I wasn't there. This is all obviously hearing one side of the story. But what I love about hearing this is, it's David actually having the guts to speak out against abuse that he suffered at the time whilst he was a rookie within the company. And I think it's really important that we hear other voices like this, because it's very easy to form an opinion of someone, but actually to hear a dissenting voice of this is really, really important. So I'd be really interested to hear what you guys out there have made of this whole situation. What do you think about what David Otunga has said about John Cena? What did you think about the whole Nexus run in 2010 and their rivalry with John Cena and what we saw play out on screen? What's your ultimate take on John Cena as a performer and his legacy? As I said at the start, at the end of the day, I will always call out bullying behaviour. I've called it out this week publicly to the people who were bullying towards me. I applaud David Otunga for speaking out against this treatment that he suffered. When he posted when he posted this video out yesterday, it was interesting to see some of the responses that he got from people within the wrestling community. One that caught my eye was, Mr. Ken Anderson saying, but he was such a great guy who hates bullying. And of course, Cena very much, this was at the time of the Be a Star WWE anti-bullying campaign. So very, very interesting. A lot to unpack here. As I say, I've just given you a bit of an extract, but you should check out David's video because it's fantastic, and I'm really enjoying the content that David is putting out too at the moment. We really need more counter voices sharing their experiences within the wrestling business, and that's what this channel is all about. Real talk from real talent. So thanks for bearing with me today. Really fascinating conversation, fascinating stuff from David Otunga. And would love to hear your thoughts on what you think about John Cena and his legacy within wrestling. So until next time, I'm Ben Veal. This is Wrestling Life, and I'll see you all. Be good to each other. Pay it forward if you can. See you soon. Bye.